Hello YouTube, thought I'd do a quick video here. I've been asked through emails more questions about my interface board that I designed here. Obviously another company make the board, but I've been asked more questions about this. So I thought I'd do another video here quick. I try to explain in all my videos details and information as best I can. Sometimes maybe I don't explain things very well. Sometimes I may forget a detail, but I try not to. So what I did also is on my forum, I just did here the other night, I did a category just on this interface board, a separate category. So join my forum. It's free to join. It's free to post questions. All the information I'm going to say in this video is also going to be on the forum, so you can read it too if you need to. All the links that you're going to need to know will also be on the forum. So that's what I just did to kind of help. I'll be updating the forum a lot faster than I will be posting these type of videos. So at any rate, I just want to point that out right away. What this interface board is for, it is for the Retevis RT97s or the Midland MXR10 GMRS two-way radio repeaters. Those repeaters have a data port on the side of them. This interface board, one end of the board will plug in the repeater, the other end of the board will go to a DB9 plug. If your computer is newer, you're going to have to buy separately a USB to DB9 adapter. They're fairly cheap. Those links will be posted again on my forum. If you have an old computer that has a DB9 or also called a serial port, you will not need to buy that adapter. Also, you're going to need, this board will have two audio cables coming off it. One will be the microphone and one will be the speaker out. These cables got to be plugged into your computer. Now, if your computer only has one jack for microphone and speaker out, you're going to have to purchase separately a adapter that goes from 2 to 1. Again, they're cheap, and that link will also be on my forum. If your computer has two jacks, one for microphone, one for speaker out, you will not need to buy that adapter. If your computer sound card ain't very good, or your jacks are wore out or dirty or whatever, you plug in the headphones and it's scratchy, don't sound good, then you can purchase what they call a USB sound card. They're very, very cheap. Again, that link will be on my forum. Now, the prototype of this board, I did a video on. I'll post that link down below. I had to use a USB sound card because my sound card on my computer was not very good, and my jacks were out. So I bought a cheap, I think it was like $2.83 free shipping sound card. Okay. Now, the sound part on this interface board will be adjusted using the computer, and I will have some fine-tuning adjustments on this board also right here. There'll be one for microphone, one for speaker. You will need a small screwdriver to adjust that. But the main adjustments will be on the computer itself. What this board will do is let you hook up your computer to your repeater so you can run software on the computer that can, like for an example, if you want to have date and time announcements over your airwaves, then you would need this interface board, and you would run the software on the computer, and then it will announce it over the airwaves, whether it's date and time, whether it's current weather, whether it's your repeater station identification that you're supposed to do. I think it's every 15 minutes. All that will come over the airwaves. What I mean by that is, if somebody in your area is on your repeater and they have a handheld or a mobile or a base station, they will hear on their radio whatever program you are running like I said, whether it's a date and time, whether it's the weather, whether it's channel, or not channel, but station, repeater, station identification, etc. All that will come over their radio. Okay, so that's what this board is for. This board is not for programming the repeater. You would use other software to do that, not this. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing I want to point out, people have asked, can I use this board on other radio gear besides those two repeaters? And the answer to that is yes, you can, if you can make a cable to adapt to those other radios that you're trying to hook up. Case in point, if you watch my prototype video, I did not have at the time the Retevis RT97 repeater, so I had to use two handhelds, and I made a separate circuit to act like the repeater. And what I mean by that is you're going to have to pay attention on the radio gear you want to hook this board up. You got to see what the logic levels are. And what I mean is the pinouts for the Retevis RT97s are on my website, and that tells you what the logic levels need to be. For an example, pin 3 is the busy line or the squelch line. That has to be a logic low for this board to work. That's why in that prototype video, I had to make a separate circuit because my radio was doing a logic high, which is not compatible when it needs a logic low. That's why I had to make a separate circuit to do that. Okay? Now, the good news is I have the Retevis RT97s repeater on its way. Should be here about 3 weeks. So I'm going to be able to really more test this board once I get the repeater here. So another thing that I get asked is, how do I know the Midland MXR10 repeater, this board will work with that repeater? Well, as much as you may not want to admit it, the Midland MXR10 is the Retevis RT97s repeater. I did a video on it. I'll post that link down in the description below, how I took the Midland programming software and I used it on my Retevis repeater. Remember, I have a Retevis repeater, the RT97 without the S, which means without the data port. I use Midland's programming software on my repeater and it reprogrammed just fine. That's one way I know how it's the same repeater. Also, there's other videos out there that of people taking the Midland repeater cover off, and you can tell the components are the same as the Retevis RT97s repeater. And the pinouts are the same too on top of that. The data port pinouts on the DB9 connector are identical. So those are the reasons why I know the Midland MXR10 repeater, this will work with that repeater. But I'll post the link to my programming video to show that down below. The other question I get is, how long? When can I buy this board? Well, as I mentioned here a little bit ago, I'm waiting for my Retevis repeater to come in that has the data port. And they told me, well, I should get a tracking number hopefully next week. So it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to get here. So I'm going to say 3 weeks yet. But in the meantime, I'm having parts come here. So parts I need to solder onto this board. So that's what I'm going to be doing there. So by the time I get the repeater, hopefully all the parts will be here. And I can put this together right away. I can start testing it. Remember, I want to put this through its paces before I say it's ready to be sold. I may have to tweak the board, even though I did a prototype video and you see the prototype working. I may have to tweak this board. So it's going to be about 3 weeks, maybe, hopefully, maybe sooner. I don't know. But as for the cost of this board, I do not know, because one of the things that I'm trying to outsource, as I mentioned in another video, is the power supply. This board needs a power supply to make it work. It does not take hardly any power, but I need a power supply to be hooked up to this board. So I'm trying to outsource a wall adapter type power supply. So if I can include that, I'm sure going to. So that's why I can't really say a price. Same with shipping. I've been asked, what about the shipping costs? I have to pass the shipping costs on to the buyer. That's going to be a separate cost. Again, I have to see how much the board's going to weigh, if I'm going to include the power supply or not. I'm going to be taking the board down to the postal office. Most likely, sending it through regular mail will be the cheapest way to send this out. So I got to buy a box for it, a cardboard box to put it in, and all that stuff. So I don't know the shipping cost. Also, too, I want to point out, this circuit board will not come in any type of enclosure. If you want to buy a plastic box for it or buy a metal box for it, then you're welcome to obviously do that. But I cannot include that for a couple reasons. One, I'm trying to keep the cost of this board down to be reasonable as best as I can. Two, it's going to add more weight to shipping. So those are the two reasons this box or this circuit board will not be in a box. Will there be help videos available? Yes. When I get to the point I'm going to sell this, I will make a video how to purchase one. At that time, I will also have help videos on how to set this board up. Meaning, for an example, if you want to do date and time announcements over your repeater, how do you do that using this board? I will have a detailed video on how to set up the computer to work with this board, and I will do it for each of the other programs out there. Like I said, one will be the date and time, one will be the repeater station identification, one may be the weather, etc. So I will have separate videos that are going to go into detail on how to configure your computer to work with this board along with the repeater. So yes. So I think I covered everything, I hope. Again, go to my forum. It's free to sign up, free to post questions. I will be updating the forum on this circuit board faster than I will be making these type of videos. So go there. If you need any links, it's all going to be there. Check that out. If you have any questions or comments, please post them down below. Please subscribe. Thank you and have a good day.